And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It's a Wednesday morning, the 8th day of the 5th month of the 2019th year. Yes, how old are you? I'm George Grant, welcoming you to today's edition of Gudday Grenada. Looking forward to a good program this morning, and got a lot cooking here this morning, so I'll tell you what. We're going to get right into today's rundown. Can you believe it? We're, 1 minute into the program, and I haven't seen anybody yet on Facebook. But I know that you guys are there, and we'll be showing up because the feed's going out just fine. First of all, I'm going to begin this morning with an apology. It's actually a correction to a story that we ran yesterday about the oldest woman alive. Tell you about that in a wee bit. Totally unintentional, but it deserves an apology. And you know that, hey, Georgie Porgy's the first to apologize when something goes wrong. So we'll get to that in a wee bit. And then, finally, we're seeing some action in the LIAT camp. Would you believe Grenada? Yeah. Grenada is now a shareholder in LIAT. Where is this going? We'll find out. And then I'm also going to just share some information with you, some news that came out yesterday, even though the oral judgment was passed last week. After 8 years, we're finally seeing some movement in the Oscar Bartholomew case. Remember that gentleman who was murdered? Yeah, I think it was back in 2011. Yeah, we have a little bit on that for you. And of course, we do have our national report. And, well, she's going to be with us. She's going to be with us. Actually, as I speak to you, I see her showing up on my right here on this big Mac monitor. Sherron, yeah. Hello, Sherron. Sherron's going to be with us this morning. She's not going to be sitting here. My heart's kind of broken, you know. Sherron usually comes in here on a Wednesday morning and keeps us company. This morning, Georgie Porgy's all by himself. So, we're happy that she's with us anyway, but she's a little bit under the weather this morning. Yeah? Don't know if she was out playing football or what, but got a pain in the knee this morning. So we'll be satisfied with the fact that she's joining us electronically. Now, yesterday morning, I showed you a video which was sent to me about a 117-year-old Jamaican woman who was, supposedly, the oldest woman alive. Well, maybe at some point. But I was subsequently informed yesterday afternoon by Beverly Sinclair, who, by the way, also happens to be Jamaican, that that woman passed away last year. And now, the oldest living person, according to Wikipedia, as of the 12th of April this year, is somebody by the name, now I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It's spelled K-A-N-E. It's either Kane or Kane. Her last name is Tanaka. She was 116 years old and 100 days, and that's back on the 12th of April, okay? And she's from Japan, by the way. And the oldest known living man is Gudday Grenada, and he's from Germany. He is 100, or was 113 years, 179 days old on the 12th of April. Okay? So we got that out of the way. Terribly sorry if I had you a little bit confused there, but those are the facts. Now, Grenada is now a shareholder in the cash-strapped LIAT. Yes, sirree. But hold on. We have no idea how many shares we got for the $1.3 million that we gave to them. Nor did the trade minister, as you're going to find out, nor did the trade minister know that Sir Richard Branson, the brainchild behind Virgin Atlantic Airways, has an interest in our little puddle jumper. That's what LIAT is, we keep jumping across the puddle from island to island. So, I'd like you to sit back now for the next 8 minutes or so, and listen to how the grand announcements were made at yesterday's post-cabinet briefing. Okay? And right at the end of that piece, you will hear some reference being made to the Oscar Bartholomew case. And I'll tell you about that just a wee bit later. But first, the minister speaks about LIAT and the government of Grenada now becoming a shareholder.
Also wish to update you and on the shareholders meeting of LIAT in Antigua on the 30th of April. And I'm pleased to announce that Grenada is now the 5th shareholder in the airline. So together with the governments of Barbados, Antigua, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada at that meeting is now accepted as the 5th main shareholder in LIAT. What that means, it means that the government, cabinet has taken a decision to continue to support LIAT. When we look at the figures from the number of passengers that LIAT brings to Grenada, of course the multiplier effect is great. LIAT brings in thousands of visitors to Grenada every year. And therefore, from an economic and social point of view, Grenada had to support LIAT, because not supporting LIAT will mean the loss of revenue and economic development to our country. The meeting also discussed what they call a minimum revenue guarantee framework. The aim of the framework is to address revenue shortfall caused by flights that fail to achieve viable or profitable routes. Grenada pledged to continue supporting LIAT, and a number of models have been examined. I say the minimum revenue guarantee is one of them. So it's based on a load factor. So that if a flight from, say, Grenada to Trinidad or Grenada to Barbados is not selling that it should in terms of their number of seats, what we're saying is that we will contribute to the seats, that's why it's called the load factor, to enable the flight to still operate between Grenada and the destination that is going to. And that is a model we think that is fair. If we want to keep the LIAT flying and they keep losing on the different route, then they would obviously, in the restructuring process, they will have to cut some routes. At the meeting, Grenada insisted that the LIAT should operate as a business and that the operation should be restructured. And so as a shareholder, we'll make our voice heard at the board meeting so that we can see value for money from LIAT.
Recently, I would have read an article that states that Mr. Bronson from Virgin Atlantic has interests in LIAT. Now that Grenada is a shareholder, can you speak to us anything about that, as to whether or not you're aware that he has interests now in LIAT, and if he does, what's the way forward and what does that mean for the airline?
No, well, I am not aware that Virgin has expressed any interest in LIAT. But as I said, they're looking at various models. So if Virgin expressed interest, that is something that LIAT board will consider, because government maintains that you have to restructure LIAT. So if you get a partner, I'm sure that the board will consider it favorable.
Not supporting LIAT means a loss in revenue, but it is already a cash cow. So how does supporting it make that any different if drastic changes are not made in terms of operations?
This is exactly what Grenada said. We said we are a shareholder, we put in money into it. You have to restructure to make LIAT more efficient and to make LIAT profitable. So there are a number of things that need to be done going forward to ensure that we get value for money.
Can you tell us when, how soon we would see that?
Oh, the committee has already been established. Yes, at the meeting and the committee has been established that will look at the restructuring of LIAT, and very soon we should get a report. All the shareholders will get a report on the restructuring process.
In relation to the Grenada becoming a main shareholder to LIAT, is that already in effect?
That decision was taken at the last meeting, and we paid. So when we paid, we said, well, we need shares. You don't just ask us to give us, give you money. We get buying shares. So we are, because we paid and we also shares, yes, we are a shareholder. That has already happened from the last meeting in Antigua.
And how much shares are we talking about here?
Well, the value of what we paid is around 1.3 million EC. Yeah.
What will Grenada be getting in return?
Well, Grenada will have a deeper say as a main shareholder. Previously, we were not only the 4 countries who were the main shareholders: Antigua, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Dominica. The others contributed, but not major resources. These were the 4 countries that were keeping LIAT going. So Grenada has now joined, and it is the hope that other countries will come aboard to assist LIAT in the restructuring, the way it operates. I said there are different models that have been discussed, and I mentioned just one, but there are other options. The minimum revenue guarantee is just one. But a whole study has been done to improve on LIAT efficiency.
I would like to find out what is the percentage stake. We've put $1.5 million into LIAT. What does that give us? We are a 10% shareholder. Give me the breakdown, please.
But I don't have that information with me. I was not the one attending the meeting, and I don't have that information, but I can give that information to the press secretary, who can send it out in terms of what shares that represent.
Regarding you spoke about the framework that is going to deal with the unprofitable routes,
right,
and the load factor. With all of this talk, you said you weren't aware of it, but there have been reports of Sir Richard showing an interest in LIAT. Given how persons at that level of business operate, do you feel we may have any concern about these unprofitable routes? He's not going to fund unprofitable routes.
No. I mean, that's a business model. If you operate in business, you will look at the routes that are unprofitable, obviously, because if you're losing money, right? If you're losing money, you wouldn't want to continue servicing a route that you're losing money on. So all this will be taken in consideration in the restructuring of LIAT. And what the model is looking at, if the government, right, I use the example of LIAT from Grenada to Trinidad or Grenada to Barbados. So if they're losing money on the route, and the government is prepared to contribute to ensure that they break even, that is an option also that is on the table. So if you want to continue servicing that route, we want LIAT to continue servicing, then the government will have to contribute to ensure that LIAT break even on the route and does not lose money.
Have we looked at what kinds, we already would have some data on some of the unprofitable routes because they're creating a problem.
Right.
Do we have any idea what kind of costs we might be looking at to cover some of those routes? They're restructuring, yes, but do we have an advanced idea?
Right. Okay. So there is a committee locally the government set up, chaired by Mr. Laiden Ramdani, and they will make all that information available to Cabinet so that Cabinet can make the decision.
And a court last week ruled in the Oscar Bartholomew case that the government is liable in the civil court, and selected police officers. One officer was not held liable. Can you speak to that? Can you comment on that? The damages have not yet been awarded, but the government is going to be asked to pay compensation to the family.
We respect any court decision. So if the court award damages, government will consider all its options in a court matter because we fully respect the decision of the courts in Grenada.
And so, do you know whether the government cabinet has thought on the matter,
Oh,
and
no,
whether,
cabinet,
whether
no.
or not was there any plan, depending on how, because that decision was coming, it could have gone either way. Had government discussed whether or not they would appeal? Or
No,
they
well,
would
the
accept
process
it?
is after the court rule, it goes to the Ministry of Legal Affairs, the Attorney General chambers. The Attorney General will then advise Cabinet. That has not yet come to Cabinet for a decision. As soon as it comes to Cabinet for a decision, it will be reported to the public.
Well, there you have it. Trade Minister Oliver Joseph at yesterday's post-cabinet briefing. Yeah. Obviously, questions to be asked. Benedict Cador says here, did this minister prepare for this interview? I don't know. It was a post-cabinet briefing. Happens every Tuesday morning. One would assume that he did. Well, I said assume. Okay? Sherron Elizabeth Roberts says, one good thing about Richard Branson having shares in LIAT is that he has proven himself to be a stable investor, and almost everything he touches turns to gold. Well, we may have a golden bird in the sky, Sherron. Maybe. Keep your pinkies crossed. John out there in Carriacou says, Minister, Branson is interested, not virgin. Okay? John's making that clear. He says, this means he will have another airline name, so he gets more landing slots into the United States. Very good observation there, John. Thank you. Benedict Cador is asking, doesn't LIAT shares have a value? Yeah, you know, that's the part of this whole interview that sort of puzzled me there. Not knowing. Well, I guess there could be reasons why he didn't know how many shares we're getting for the 1.3 million. I mean, if you're going to go dump 1.3 million bucks, especially Gudday Grenada, into any business, you should, right off the bat, have a fairly good idea. Well, that's only an assumption on my part, but who am I? I'm not an economist, not an academic. Yeah. Kipling says, is it Grenada having shares in LIAT? Hold on a sec. Where's Kipling? Yeah. Is it Grenada having shares in LIAT, or some Grenadians having a share in LIAT? Just wondering. We've also been joined by Peter Linky. Hi there, Linky. Linky's asking everybody to be kind and respectful to everyone, and of course sending you his love. Wayne Peters is there. Fragrance Emmanuel Bedeau Francique. I'm going to get used to that name sooner or later. Mags is also checking in. Mags, I just can't wait to hear what you have to say about LIAT. Benedict Cador, John, yeah, those are the folks there so far. Kipling says, another wasted moment listening to rambling. No clear path. Floyd Nichols says, once again, tax money going to the gutter. Guys, look, we've been waiting for a long time. I'm not saying this is the solution to our problems, because obviously it's not, or I should say LIAT's problems. But at least, we're seeing some sort of movement. I'll tell you one thing I would really love to see and hear. I want to see and hear which government is going to be the first to make an announcement about the reduction in the taxes that are tagged on to LIAT's tickets. Do you know, we've been hearing about, how taxes are burdensome to people traveling on LIAT. That's what I want to hear. I want to see which government's going to be first to say, well, okay, I'm cutting my taxes. That's what I want to hear. Okay, now, just in case you may not be aware of the Oscar Bartholomew matter, which was referred to at the end of that clip, government and police officers have been found liable for the December 2011 death of Oscar Bartholomew. Mr. Bartholomew is a Grenadian who had been living in Canada and was back here on vacation. He and his wife were touring the island when they stopped at the St. David police station to use the washroom. Allegedly, Mr. Bartholomew saw a female police officer whom he thought he recognized and embraced her. It was then that he was beaten by the police officers and subsequently died. One police officer walked away from any financial responsibility to the family, while 3 others are being held culpable. The 3 are also now facing criminal charges of murder and manslaughter. While the written ruling is yet to be issued, the civil court ruled just this past week in an oral judgment. Okay? The written judgment, well, as of yesterday, the written judgment had not come out, and we look forward to hearing that. Okay, pilgrims, let's take our first little break here. Hold on a sec here. I like this name. I haven't seen this name before. Ambidextrous Chick, Walcott Chimmery. Wow. That's almost like, what's the other one up here? Fragrance Emmanuel Bidot Francique. My goodness, Sherron, pretty soon we ain't going to be able to handle these names here. Let's take a break, folks. We'll come back with your national report.
My name is Jennifer James, and I've been making confectionaries for the past 7 years. Growing up as a little girl, I always wanted to make these little things. Fudge, sugar cake, tamarind ball, these little things. I read something actually, and it said that tamarind itself is very good because it eliminates fat from the liver. You get the mature tamarind and you crack it, you shell it out. I would add a little baking soda, some spices. I would leave it to rest probably for about 2 hours and then add my sugar and just start kneading. I usually knead it hard enough so that I can roll it. When I finish roll it, I will paste it with the actual white or brown sugar, and you have a nice tamarind ball. I have been providing food fair with tamarind ball about 6 years now. I started producing tamarind ball to sell for the school children. I thought I could advance somewhere. So I went to food fair and I asked one of the salespersons there if they would be interested in selling my tamarind ball. And she told me yes. She told me to bring 20 packets to start with. It was really a joy for me because I wanted to extend on my little business. My name is Jennifer James, and I work with the food fair to provide you with tamarind balls.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Are you equipped to take a closer look behind the numbers? The Caribbean Institute of Forensic Accounting can help you build your professional skills to audit and investigate fraud, waste, and abuse. Through the Forensic Certified Public Accountants FCPA program, you gain qualification to conduct forensic audits and investigations globally, earn international recognition and designation as a Forensic Certified Public Accountant from the Forensic CPA Society of the USA. Certificate courses run May to November 2020. 2019 in Grenada at the Grenada National Stadium. To register, contact us at info@cfa-edu.com or 868-224-3478.
Grenada becomes one of LIAT's main shareholders. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, May 7th, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. Grenada is now one of the 5 main shareholders of regional airline LIAT, joining Antigua, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Dominica. Government has contributed $1.3 million to the cash-strapped Antigua-based carrier, which means this country will now have a greater say in the affairs of the airline. That announcement was made by CARICOM Affairs Minister, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday. He says the decision to support the airline means a gain in revenue and economic development.
Grenada is now the 5th shareholder in the airline. So together with the governments of Barbados, Antigua, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada at that meeting is now accepted as the 5th main shareholder in LIAT. What that means? It means that the government, cabinet has taken a decision to continue to support LIAT. When we look at the figures from the number of passengers that LIAT brings to Grenada, of course, the multiplier effect is great. LIAT brings in thousands of visitors to Grenada every year. And therefore, from an economic and social point of view, Grenada had to support LIAT.
At a recently concluded shareholders meeting in Antigua, it was suggested that LIAT take a business-like approach and restructure to become more efficient and more profitable. A committee has been established to look at the restructuring of the airline, and a report is expected to be submitted to shareholder governments sometime soon. The airline adopted the minimum revenue guarantee framework, which is designed to address revenue shortfall.
The aim of the framework is to address revenue shortfall caused by flights that fail to achieve viable or profitable routes. Grenada pledged to continue supporting LIAT, and a number of models have been examined. I say the minimum revenue guarantee is one of them. So it's based on a load factor. So that if a flight from, say, Grenada to Trinidad or Grenada to Barbados is not selling as it should in terms of their number of seats, what we're saying is that we will contribute to the seats, that's why it's called a load factor, to enable the flight to still operate between Grenada and the destination that is going to.
Minister Joseph says LIAT is in a dire financial situation and Grenada's contribution is to ensure that it continues flying.
If you're operating business, you will look at the routes that are unprofitable. Obviously, because if you're losing money, right? If you're losing money, you wouldn't want to continue servicing a route that you're losing money on. So all this will be taken in consideration in the restructuring of LIAT. And what the model is looking at, if the government, right, I use the example of LIAT from Grenada to Trinidad or Grenada to Barbados. So if they're losing money on the route, and the government is prepared to contribute to ensure that they break even, that is an option also that is on the table. So if you want to continue servicing that route, we want LIAT to continue servicing, then the government will have to contribute to ensure that LIAT break even on the route and does not lose money.
Minister for Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs, the Honorable Emmeline Pear, has had cordial and productive discussions with the new executive of the Grenada Union of Teachers. At a recent meeting, Minister Pear and members of the GUT executive discussed a number of matters, including outstanding items from the collective bargaining agreement. It was at the GUT's recent annual conference that the Education Minister issued the call for continued dialogue and the recent meeting presented an opportunity to discuss matters relating to education as well as to congratulate the new executive. Productivity, professionalism, and a code of ethics for teachers were also among the main agenda items at the meeting. Further dialogue on the matters discussed will take place when another meeting is convened in 2 weeks. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatality. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation. Get to your destination safe.
Continuing the news, Grenada has been named as one of the 3 CARICOM countries with the highest level of compliance with respect to the implementation of CARICOM decisions. Jamaica and Guyana were the other 2 countries named during a recent meeting of the Council for Trade and Economic Development Quartet in Guyana. Grenada's Trade Minister, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, says it demonstrates this government's belief in the process of regional integration.
As you know, the concern of what is called the implementation deficit has been discussed throughout the region, that CARICOM heads may take decision and member states fail to implement. So it was very refreshing to hear that Grenada is in the top 3 of the member states that implement decision of CARICOM when it is taken. And this is because the government strongly believes in regional integration, because we believe our economic development, investment, and the open market in the Caribbean can assist us to grow and develop and provides opportunity for our small and medium enterprise to grow and share in this Caribbean community market.
Minister Joseph says the country's rate is measured based on the work it has done through legal instruments and otherwise.
Visa for Haitian nationals. The CARICOM heads of government at their last meeting said that visa requirement should be removed for Haitian nationals. You will recall Barbados was the first country to announce that they remove visa restriction for Haitian. So when you report in at the meeting, they will ask each member state, what have you done? And if they come with 5 or 3, so they know the amount that has complied with the decision of heads. That's how they measure it. Each member state must report on what they have done, whether it's through legal instrument or administratively, to give effect to the decisions of heads. And that's how Grenada, Jamaica, and Guyana are ranked in the top 3.
Promo Caribbean, Promo Grenada has pledged to make a significant contribution to the Grand Bacolet Juvenile Rehabilitation Center of an application that will allow for iOS and Android devices. The cost to develop the application for the center will be in the tune of $25,000. Simon Green is one of the local representatives for Promo Caribbean, Promo Grenada, which was one of the sponsors of the just concluded NYPD humanitarian tour to Grenada. The announcement came during the group's visit to the facility.
We're going to be sponsoring a website and an app, all right, developed, with our techs to ensure we can support the educational goals of the center, which can also be used as a platform for raising funds and support and really networking. We're also going to put a challenge out to everyone that's here to perhaps adopt or mentor an individual in this facility here and build a relationship through just emails and letters and what have you, and whatever guidance that they can provide as they move through these phases, because I know I'm seeing success in front of me and we want to be a part of this. So again, it's a pleasure for us to make that donation and that link between the center and our network.
A discussion will be held between the Promo Caribbean team and the management of the center regarding development of the application. Promo Caribbean, Promo Grenada began with the idea of bringing the Caribbean community together at home and abroad by creating a platform to expose a diverse and rich Caribbean region. And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
I know that there's a slight delay between the time the signal leaves here and reaches you wherever you happen to be. Well, I haven't seen any comments thus far on the national report. However, going back to that press conference, the post-cabinet briefing that we played earlier on with Trade Minister Oliver Joseph, there are a few comments here I just wanted to grab very quickly. First of all, Benedict Cador says, "This briefing is the biggest joke I've had for the day." Well, Benedict, the day has only just begun. There may be chuckles coming your way yet. Hang in there. He also goes on to say, "I have never heard of businesses giving away money without knowing what they're getting in return. These people are not serious." So says Benedict. Ah, yeah, here we go. Sooner or later, she had to come alive. Margaret says, "Growing up, I was taught to always put my best foot forward. NNP obviously never learned that lesson, because that minister talking about LIAT is certainly not a good foot, far less the best one." Mags, get back to work. Get back to work, Max. And then Sherron says here, "So sad, so sad." Pilgrims, let's take a little break here, and then we'll come on back with Sherron herself.
Boy, you, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming, I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy. Why not? The wind good. Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity. Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked. Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture. Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Good morning, Mrs. Wiltshire. We come to see your daughter. Hello there, Sherron. How are you? What's that big smile on your face for this morning? To hear my singing? Yeah, George, you have the right to remain silent. Anything? Everything's okay? Uh-oh. You've been... Okay. Sherron, sounds like you're getting old.
Men are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I certainly hope that the Reiki works for you and that you feel better by the end of the day. I'm a little bit puzzled because I'm seeing here on social media that people are saying they can't hear you. I'm hearing you loud and clear, but for some reason or another, you're not going out.
Oh dear.
Keep talking and let's see. So anyhow, tell me what's up your sleeve this morning anyway. What's in your grab bag?
Touch a little on the Whitsuntide game with Regatta in Petermartinic, so we can plan for the weekend. Ceremony on Friday the 7th. 8, 9, and 10 could plan to be in Petermartinic.
Okay, okay.
You
8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay, Max said good now.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Boy, let me tell you something. She is a character. Like a twig. She's like a twig, okay? But you look at her on these programs we do here, Mech We Chat, for example, her mouth never stops going. Always eating. And yet she's as puny as anything. Let me ask you something, young lady. You heard that piece we did a little bit earlier about the Oscar Bartholomew case. The wheels of justice grind very slowly, don't they?
Very slowly, but had faith that we will get a good outcome. This is a story part of the human rights report. Every year they asked about that, and it was beginning to look so bad, because nothing was coming of it, that now I'm hoping that my former charges, especially Mr. Krishok, Mr. Link, I hope they would get to see that something would come out of it, because it's embarrassing to say the least.
Yeah.
Because this guy, imagine you go and hug somebody and you end up dead. And not even hug somebody by mistake and apologize. That sorry, I mistook you for somebody I know.
Yeah.
And you get beaten to death. That is sad. And I think his mother died not too long after that.
Yep, that's right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the written judgment.
And by the way, that was only the civil matter, right? Now they're going into the criminal part of it.
I remember that the commission not bringing these officers back to work. Remember?
Yeah.
They were set up, waiting charges or waiting trial, and there was this big thing in human rights and all that in Grenada, and they had to force the hands of the commissioner of police to bring them back to work.
The part. Pardon me?
Interesting.
The part that really bothers me, I wouldn't want to be a family member of that family because 8 years, Sherron, 8 years, and we're only just about to enter the criminal stage. 8 years?
Shows the condition of things in Grenada. It can't get much worse than that,
That's scary, isn't it?
When you listen to the ordinary man I keep hearing, oh, be kind and be nice to the government. And it's not so much beating up on the government, because anybody who did that, it has nothing to concern. It has to do with competence.
Yeah.
And every day I see things happening that are unfair.
Yeah.
And you ask, where are the unions? Yesterday I spoke to a young lady who works for an organization who should really
$80 hours or 40?
40, sorry, she was working 40, not 80. And I'm thinking fortnight. She's not being paid overtime. Her boss is very disrespectful. And she just have to take.
Yeah.
That don't sound very Grenadian to me. So, I don't know.
Just some of the realities that we have to deal with in this country today. By the way, Margaret here on social media says she's responding to the fact that I called her a twig a little while ago. She says, that's because I'm selective about what I eat. I said she eats a lot, but she's skinny. She says that's because she's selective about what she eats. Like you. She also goes on to say here, the Oscar Bartholomew case is close to me because I know the family well, and he did not deserve that. She says his mom never got over it, and I guess that's why she passed away soon after.
Right. That is so sad.
Petra Andrew Thomas says he really didn't deserve it. He was family to me and my kids. We always speak about him. He was a very fun person to be around. So says Petra.
Right.
It's a long time after, Petra, but please accept my condolences. You too, Mags. You know, that's very sad. And then we hear about human rights. Oh my God. Makes you want to regurgitate, doesn't it?
You know, when he saw, he realized wrong person.
So these things do happen.
Oh yes.
But
oh
I mean,
yes. But you don't get killed for it normally.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, giving the guy a licking is one thing, but to the point of death,
Yeah.
and coming from police officers.
Oh, they do more than you think, you know.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes when you hear the public complaining about it, you think that the public, they just don't like the police, they don't like the police. But a lot of the stuff that they're saying out there, if only people really took them seriously, there would have to be changes made in the force.
Well, I know of a lot that happened, and fortunately, if you know the law and you stand up for yourself, chances are you'll be okay. But if you're ignorant of the law,
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Now, this morning, a lot of attention was focused on your dearly beloved LIAT. Leave Island anytime. What was that one?
luggage in another terminal.
Luggage in another terminal. Oh, poor LIAT. You know, Sharon, we've heard so many reasons why LIAT's in trouble. We heard about poor management. Well, damn it, fix the management. We've heard about not as many people traveling because of the high taxes imposed by government. In that case, well, you have three choices. You can leave the taxes where they are, you can increase the taxes, or you can reduce them. But all we're hearing is about the taxes, but I haven't heard anything being done. Do you?
When you look at a ticket, when they print out a ticket for you, because normally they don't anymore, but I like to see a printout, and they give you the price, and you see the list of the taxes, the ridiculous things they're taxing for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what caused the price to go up like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now if everybody have to pay for those things, and they're boasting that they get how many passengers.
Yeah. Something else that came out of that that post-cabinet briefing this morning, where the minister said he didn't know about the interest being expressed by Richard Branson. It seems like the government doesn't know too much about anything going on. Just a few weeks ago, Justice Redhead, who passed away, remember that? Pardon me? They said they didn't know the man had died, even though the Prime Minister spoke to his brother, I think, a day or two after the death. And allegedly, according to what I read in the newspapers, allegedly he was going to attend the funeral, and they didn't know the man had died.
That my former bishop, late yes, son cannot make. He doesn't even know. That is the level of what we call government these days.
Yeah.
And they could do better, because I know on. I don't know if they get nervous and everything. But especially Oliver, he may not be the best.
Well, based on the comments that I'm seeing here this morning, you talk about him being a bright guy. Based on the comments I'm seeing, you're going to have a hard time convincing some of the people out there on social media. By the way, I'm being told now on social media that the audio has gone again. They say your audio is very bad. Oh boy. Margaret says, yeah, I agree on the audio. I don't know what's happening. Anyhow, I also noticed that your video is not as good as it usually is. Your video is kind of jerky this morning.
I don't know what's happening, because I'm not touching it.
Yeah. All right, Sherron. Well, in any event, my dear friend, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I certainly hope that the Reiki has a positive effect on your knee and that you'll be back in studio here with us next week. How about that?
Yes, I will make it my duty, even if I have to get somebody to pull me up those steps, because that would be the last one for a couple of weeks.
Okay, then.
In studio.
Oh, yeah, you're going to cricket.
I'm going to a Reiki gathering and then cricket. So next week I want to speak a little bit about Reiki.
Okay, then.
And of course, Carriacou and Peter Martin.
Thanks a lot, Sherron.
Okay, dear.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Much love. Bye.
All right. We'll be back with just a wee bit.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
All right, folks, first of all, let me apologize. I don't know what happened there this morning. I noticed that we were having some audio problems this morning, and obviously you folks out there noticed it. But Renewed Purpose is now saying all of a sudden the audio gets corrected. When she's about to leave. Well, girl, or guy, whichever you are, Renewed Purpose. Sassely, like old people say in this place, such is life. Irvin Samuel says, when LIAT was LIAT, it was shuttling around the Caribbean annually 1 million or more passengers. Now LIAT is struggling to get even 75,000 passengers to fly with them annually. Main reason? Government's high landing tax and ridiculous tax on ticket sales. Yeah, Irvin, we know that, boy, we know that. And yada, 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 yada. We keep hearing about it. Do something. Increase the taxes. Leave them where they are. Or reduce them. Take some corrective measure. Now, pilgrims, let's see, 2 minutes away from the hour. Time to bail out of here. Today's inspirational words come to you from Titus. Titus chapter 1. Just 2 verses, 15 and 16. To the pure, all things are pure. But to those who are corrupted and do not believe, nothing is pure. In fact, both their minds and consciences are corrupted. They claim to know God, but by their actions, they deny Him. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for doing anything good. Titus 1, verses 15 and 16. Okay, pilgrims, Georgie Porgy's going to hightail it. I had breakfast this morning, so I'm not going to tell you I'm going to feed my face. Thank you very much for joining us. May the good Lord bless and keep you, and by His grace, let's get together again tomorrow morning at 9.